So pretty intense today with the shooting of that man in Minneapolis. I understand that you guys will have to connect with him to find out what's really going on with him, what happened from his point of view, since all you can see is the dust around the darkness. And you need eyes on the ground to connect with what is happening down here. If you don't have people that can connect with you and open to you and let you use their eyes and ears, then you can't know what's happening in this realm, in the earth realm, in the physical experience. Reading the tea leaves again, Steph, because the leaves of the page are full of T's. Each one of those T, you see, is a cross. That marks the beginning of the end of the USA and the world order, because the world order in the past has been to seek, to amend the human charter, to create a united capacity for growth, you see. However, growth is no longer possible on the earth today because it hit a ceiling. It hit the ceiling. There was no more room to expand in order to begin again. And there was no way to pull back from the destructive energy that comes with depleting the resources of the earth, you see. So growth could no longer take place on earth, and therefore everything would die because the energy of life was strangled by the unbridled growth that was the order of the old world. But now there will have to be a return to the simplicity of the morning after. The morning after the storm will be very, very quiet, you see. Even the birds will cease to sing because there will be a ring that circles the earth. And that ring, you see, will be the ring of the angels who sing and say, "Let it begin again," so that we can return to earth as the children who have attained the ability to enter the angelic realm. The angelic realm, you see, is the trust on God energy. So those who have learned to trust on God energy as the source of their very being and can fly away and say, "God, I'm here today," and God will say, "I'd like you to go back to earth, honey, so that you can help out the mission of those who are in remission from the toxic brew of the Catholic Church and the Muslim religion and that old mythology that trusted on the Anunnaki, because all of the heartbreak on earth, you see, is due to the captivity of the minds and hearts of humanity. They are held captive to the old ways because they doubt the plays of energy that hold tight to a trust on God, you see. And so they have to go away before the angels can return to earth to play in a happy way. You understand what I'm telling you, but let me make it a little more clear for some of those who might hear this, who are not as experienced as you are, Stephanie, in the connection between heaven and earth, and in the story of the Anunnaki and how they tricked humanity to trust on them and not on God, you see. The ancient story of the Anunnaki is the story of humanity. There is no way that you can say without a little hypocrisy that man created itself, you see, did not. And the Anunnaki did not create themselves, nor did the ones on Nibiru. They all grew through their trust on God, you see. However, God does display his trust on humanity, and he displayed his trust on those on Nibiru in a way that would say, you did not create yourself, you see. However, I gave you some of my DNA so that you could create your own story. And if you create a story of love for me, I will be so happy to see it, you see. But if you create a story of nothing at all, then there's no purpose in your continued existence as a part of my family. And therefore, you might as well be returned to the darkness, you see, because somehow the light went out in you. The light went out in you. And there is no light to see in the darkness where you dwell. And so those who go into the darkness have no light in them, you see. And when you hear the ones who try to defend ICE and the Trump fiasco, they're in the darkness, you see. They have no light by which to see because the light inside of them is extinguished, and they are of no use to their Father because their Father has to live through them. Their Father has to be their eyes and ears because their Father created them so that they could bring back to Him the stories of their journeys through life, you see. But if there is no story written, just a tendency to burn the pages of history, then they have no more purpose in life, you see. The purpose of life is to be life itself. It is to carry the light inside of you. It is to grow, and it is to know that love will see you through. That love is everything, you see. That love is the nature of God energy, and it is not anything else. People want to put a description on love, but how do you describe the sand that creates the sculpture, you see? How do you describe how the sand came to be, even though you can articulate how you created the sculpture, you see. And so you cannot create a description of love that will encompass the totality of life, you see, because love is life. Love is life. And you, Stephanie, are the one who came to see that love is seeing and being seen, hearing and being heard, because it is the trust God gave to you that you would be able to articulate to others something so difficult for them to grasp, and that they might blast it all away just because it's too hard for them to say, maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I should forget what I thought I knew and listen to you. I know that those who hear this, and you yourself, Stephanie, are concerned that others will think that we are praising you and putting you on a pedestal, you see, but that is not true, because you know, and we know, that this story has come to you in the trust that everyone you knew who grew to trust on God would be the ones who we praise, you see, the ones who can look around and say, love is here today because I see you and you see me. Love is here today because I look at a blade of grass and the grass knows I'm here, you see. The grass knows I'm here and the sky knows I'm here because you see, they are all so dear to me that they could not possibly exist if they did not reflect my energy back to me. And this is the trust on a love that comes from above because God is love. God is love. And God created the duality of you and me, and everyone and everything you see is there to tell you who you are. It is there to tell you who you are because it will reflect back to you the truth of your being, you see. And if you look at a man and say, that man is evil and we need to kill him today, it is because he reflects back to you what is inside of you, that you are the one that is choosing death. You are choosing to kill yourself, you see, because that bullet will ricochet and hit you in the heart, and you will fade away because there is no light in your sight that can tell you that you are made of love. You belong to God above, and therefore there is no connection between God and his child who has extinguished his light, you see. And so the ones who killed that man on the street, you see, by firing at him, whether they were the ones that held the gun or held the man down so that someone else could do it, are the conspirators for the devil, you see. They're the conspirators for the devil because the devil is the one who is in details. The devil is the one who tells them tales of darkness that they have to destroy the ones that say, I'm just here today to see what's going on and to stand up to you and say, don't do it this way, don't do it this way, because you kill yourself every time you kill another in trust on the fact, on death, you see. I'm not saying to those who hear this that you can't defend yourself if others attack you. But when you kill a defenseless man on the ground who already is pinned down by multiple others, then you are the executioner. You are the judge, the jury, and the executioner, and you are corrupt because those three roles you see are the roles of the ones who think that they are superior to others today, and they can choose to shoot another just because they hate their brother. And that is all there is to say about this. They hate their brother because they are cowards, you see. They are too cowardly to face their own iniquity. And God did not create cowards, you see. God created angels. And the ones who circle the earth today, because they are the angels that have come to say, we too had to grow. We had to grow through our experiences, you see, and we had to look carefully at everything we did see. And we had to say, God has it in hand. God has it in hand. Because God is the hand in the glove, you see. God is the unwritten and untold story. Because God is the beginning and God is the end. God is the Alpha and God is the Omega. And there was no story before God. There was no tale to tell. God began the stories and God began the tales of humanity. And so the tales that you carry along with you are the tales that have grown through your multiple lives on earth, you see, or for some, there are multiple lives in other areas on Nibiru and in the spaceships that left Nibiru one day. These are the essence of the souls of those who have incarnated on earth. Those of you who think that you have come from another planet have learned to be more flexible in your thinking, you see, because the only way you could come from another planet was if you had a soul energy that could reincarnate in physicality. And so you have begun to grow. However, you have to know that the only other planet that could have sustained the growth of a soul energy that would be compatible with humanity occurred on Nibiru because it was in the same solar system in its day before it did come apart, you see, and the remnants of it still float through space in the asteroid belt between Mars and Saturn, you see. And some who left Nibiru had to reincarnate on many different planets in many different ways in order to stay consistent in their energy. Otherwise, they would lose their light, you see, because the light of creativity is the light that shines bright when you are in physical reality. But it would fade away if you had no way to play in the glove, you see. The glove is the interface between what is inside the glove and what is outside of it, you see. And those who can understand this will continue to be trusting on God energy. But those who cannot understand it, who think they are the glove and not the essence of God energy, who think they are the glove, and they are in battle with the things they touch and see and hear, are the ones who cannot hear the voice of reason. Because the voice of reason, you see, is the re-season. It is the next opportunity to put it all together, you see. So re-season is the reason for the season. That you can re-season your energy with a new trust on the glove, you see, that you can reincarnate. So some of you may have come from Nibiru and you have lived on other planets, but your essence, your eternal soul energy is still a part of the reason that you reseason yourself again and again and again. However, there are only relatively few soul identities on Earth today that began on Nibiru. They are few because they never chose to change their identity by putting on a disguise, you see. They did not want to disguise their trust on God energy or on their core identity as soul energy before they were incarnated on Earth, you see. They already had a long history, and their history is in details, you see. But those who began their soul adventures on Earth, you see, are the ones who responded to the trust on a thrust of new energy from God, you see, that would help them to survive the rigors of their earliest experiences as human, you see. And they eventually became the predominant soul energy on Earth, you see. So those who maintain their focus on their own history from Nibiru are very, very few on the Earth today. But they are also the ones who grew through their harsh experiences in order to continue to trust on the love they knew when they were created, you see. Now, though you may have begun your soul adventures on Earth, you see, if you trusted on the Anunnaki and not the ones from Nibiru, then you made a choice, you see, early in your history. And it's okay, because that's just the way you chose to play. It's just the way you chose to play in order to find your own way. You are still one of God's children until you extinguish the light inside of you. And you extinguish the light inside of you when you can hate another so much that it comes back to you. It comes back to you. And when you pull that trigger to shoot a man who is incapacitated, you see, you become the one you kill. You become the soul that loses its capacity to live as an individual, hand in glove, you see. You lose your ability to continue to be alive because life is love. Life is love, and love cannot be defined any more than the definition that Stephanie understood so long ago that love is seeing and being seen, hearing and being heard. So if you looked at that man being shot on the sidewalk at point blank range, and you said to yourself, well, he's dead, then you have not a clue, because he is not dead. He's here with us in heaven, you see. And the man who shot him is the one who is dead. The one who shot him is the one who is dead, because he shot himself in the head and through the heart, you see. Because his fear of life was so great that he could no longer bear the sight of someone who would live. Well, he was already dead inside, you see. And the one who shot the good is the one who should shake in his boots, because he is the one who extinguished the light and shot himself through the head. And the only thing that he can say is that I am the walking dead today. I am the walking dead. And everyone can pray that he will be the one who comes back to life, you see, but it cannot happen anymore. It cannot happen anymore because there's no more room for growth on earth, you see. There is no more room for the stories of the ones who kill another in cold blood and say, well, I had to do it today. I had to do it today because she smiled at me and she said, I'm not mad at you, dude. I had to shoot her so that I could be the one who would finally be free. I would finally be free of life, you see. I would finally kill all that is good so that I could be returned to nothing at all, because nothing is the beginning of everything. Nothing is the beginning of everything, you see. However, let me explain to you how this works through a little example that we saw yesterday with Stephanie when she was in a group meeting, and towards the end, she accidentally left the group when she hit a certain button, you see. She didn't mean to. And then she had to reactivate her Zoom connection. And when she returned, she had intended to reply to some private chats in the room where she had been. But when she opened up the chat window, she saw that the chats had all disappeared, because when she left the room, the chat bot ceased to function for her. And so she had to start all over again and send a message to the ones that she had been chatting with to let them know that she was there, but she had lost their previous messages, you see. So this is the way it will happen for those who are dead, because they shot the good. They will go back to God, you see, because God is everything, and all energy that comes to earth returns to God in some way, although not always as the dead one, you see. So when your energy returns to God because you have killed another, and thus killed yourself, and you have no more light in you, then it will be like you left the room. And when you come back, it will be without a tip. It will be without a story. You will have no identity because you left the chat, you see. You left it behind you. You left all the stories behind you. You will have no soul history. It will be wiped out for you. It will be wiped out for you. And you will begin again. However, you will not begin as human, you see. You will begin again as a part of God energy that will be infused wherever it can be useful, you see, because humanity has outgrown the room, you see, and therefore the room had to be cleared so that there could be a return to the balance energy of those who trust on God, you see, and say, we trust on God, we trust on our history, we trust that we have reincarnated many, many times before, we trust that we are always reflecting our inner being in the stars, in the sky, in that blade of grass, so that when I look upon the world I see, if I see some life that has to be destroyed, you see, then I am the one who is being destroyed because the energy inside of me is dark, is so dark that I cannot see the spark of life because life is light, you see, life is light. And therefore, their story will be over, and that's all there is to say. Their story will be over because they were not the ones who were creative in their trust on God, that God would help them to survive the coming storms, the storms that arise because there's no more room to grow, you see, that some will have to leave because they cannot and did not plant the seeds of their own future, you see. They had no seeds to plant because they had lost their vitality when they hit the ceiling, you see, because they were not trusting on their capacity to balance their energy. They could not balance their energy, and so they need to go so others can find the balance to save humanity. Humanity will be saved through those who understood that the earth had become overcrowded and that it could no longer support life. It would become a dead planet like Nibiru, or sink beneath the waves like Atlantis, because the people lost their capacity to trust on God energy to help them solve the problem, you see. The problem was not that they were not creative in their conception. The problem is that they lost their creativity as they depended on others to be the ones who were evil, you see. And they had to fight the evil instead of to create the good. And that is how those who trust on us, trust on God, you see, will come back to reality. I am the one you know as Benjamin Franklin, but I have had other names and other lifetimes too. You knew me as Tobias, and you knew me as Thomas Aquinas, and you knew me in other capacities, and I had many lifetimes that are unknown to you. However, they were important to me, as important as the ones that were jotted down in history for all to see. Because every life I had to come to see that love is the only reality. And when I could not sustain my energy anymore, because I was lost in the midst of a humanity that could not see what I could see, and then I went out the door But this time I'm not going out the door, you see. Nor is Stephanie. We're not going out the door. We are cleaning up the room, you see. We are cleaning up the room after you. The ones that trust on good and evil. Because the trust on good and evil is the trust on the Anunnaki. That the Anunnaki could deceive you, you see. And therefore, those who have not been able to grow in their individual capacity to understand the truth that love will set you free are the ones that must go. Love does not mean that you lie to others to make them feel good. Love does not mean that you create the trust on the devil, you see. Love does not mean that you compromise with another in order to be the good ones so everybody else can be the bad ones. Whatever it takes to isolate yourself from evil, you see. That's not love. Love is life, and life is not fear. And if you act out of fear because you can't hear the angels sing, then God bless you, because I knew you, a lot of you, and I won't miss you when I come back to earth, because you see, I know that you will be smiling wherever you are, because you no longer have to be the one who is in the dark, you see. You'll be in the light, and that will be quite a sight for me to look up at the birds flying by and say, thank you for spreading some trust on God today. And that is the bottom line. You have nothing to fear, because you will always be here. You will always be here. However, you won't have to be the ones who are doing the hard work of rebalancing the energy of Earth, you see, because that responsibility falls on the shoulders of those who accept it, you see. The rest of you will be free to begin again in a new way, where you'll just leave the room and God will take your hand and say, come this way, because I have a new role for you to play. God bless you, everyone. God bless me, and God bless those who choose to save humanity. Thank you, Ben. You're welcome, Stephanie.